Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be going through all the books that I am hopefully going to be reading in November. So this might end up being a November and December TBR. I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to skip my TBR game for December and then start it back up again in the new year, only because I'm starting to feel a little bit stressed with the number of books that I want to read before the end of 2022. I mean, there's books that I want to read just because I want to read them, and there's books that I need to read for videos. So if I don't read them, then I'm going to have to push those videos back into next year, and it's a bit stressful. I'm feeling the pressure, but I'm hoping it's all going to be fine, and it's going to be a really successful reading month in November, because October has not been successful. I mean, I think enjoyed all of the books that I've read in October. There's still a few days left to go before the end of the month at the time that I'm filming this video. But yeah, October was busy because of moving house and I wasn't really in the mood to read, so hopefully November will be much more productive. I'm not planning on taking part in any readathons in November. I almost forgot what month we were on then, but yeah, I'm not planning on taking part in any readathons at the moment because I want to focus on readathons in December when it's going to be the festive season, and I did a few festive readathons last year that were really fun. So my plan is, if I can read everything that I need to read this month, then next month can be a mood reading month, hopefully. If this is the first time that you're seeing my TBR game, then I will leave a link to the playlist in the description, but otherwise, let's go with rule number one. Okay, so here we go with rule number one, which is a one, which is fantasy. So rule number one landed on fantasy, and let's just get this out of the way because these books have been staring at me all month and I haven't got round to them yet. So I am planning to read Mistborn Era 2 in November. I wanted to start this series in October, and to be fair, I'm filming this on the 25th, so there are a few more days of the month where I could start the Alloy of Law, but my plan is to do a reading vlog where I read all of these and The Lost Metal when it comes out. I am expecting to really enjoy this series because I did really enjoy Mistborn Era 1, and this is set in the same world as the first series, but it follows different characters because it's set a few hundred years after the end of the Hero of Ages. So the characters from the first series are now considered legends in this world. So really excited to finally be getting around to this. Role number two is a 2, which is romance. So role number 2 landed on romance, and for this I'm going to be reading Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Weisner, I think is how you pronounce the author's name. So this came out a few weeks ago, I believe, and I've heard amazing things already. I actually have an arc of it through NetGalley, but I was approved right at the last minute, so I want to try and read it soon so that I can get my review up. But yeah, all of the early reviews that I saw for this were amazing, so very, very excited for this. I wasn't planning on reading this so soon. I was going to wait until next year, but when I got approved last minute for the arc, I thought, okay, this could be the perfect romance to read in November, when I think I'm going to need a romance to read after I've finished all the epic fantasy that I've got planned this month. So I think this is going to be a good one to break up the pace a little bit. From what I understand, this follows a woman called Cassie, who is a senior in college, and one evening she's out at a bar having a few drinks, and she meets this older woman who she has an instant connection with, and they end up having a one-night stand. However, Cassie then finds out the next morning that this woman is actually her best friend's mom. So it's an age gap sapphic romance, and I am here for it. I am really excited for this. I'm gonna be interested to see if I prefer this to Delilah Green Does Doesn't Care. Prefer is probably the wrong word because I love Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I gave it 5 stars and it's probably my favourite sapphic romance that I've read so far this year, so I'm gonna be interested to compare the two. I mean, I probably shouldn't compare the two because that might not be very fair, but I'm interested to see whether mistakes were made. Could end up being my favourite sapphic romance of the year. I don't know, I think I've just got it in my head that I'm gonna love this as much as I enjoyed Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I haven't read anything by this author before, so I don't know why I'm so convinced that this is gonna be a 5 stars. I think it is just based purely on reviews, but I am excited to have a romance on my TBR for next month because I'm really in the mood for romance right now. Rule number 3 is a 1, which is challenge. And the challenge is to read a recent purchase, so a book I've bought recently. So rule number 3 landed on challenge, and the challenge was to read a recent purchase, so a book that I bought recently, and the book that I've chosen for this is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. So I bought this quite recently. I think it came out this year as well, but I saw this in a 99p Kindle deal either last month or this month, and it sounded really good because it's basically about a woman who, when she was a kid, her dad was convicted of being a serial killer, and she's now in her 30s, I think she's around 32, and she finally feels like her life is back on track. She feels like she's come to terms with what happened and she's engaged, she's got a great job working as a psychologist. However, things start to unravel when girls in her town start going missing, and she starts seeing parallels between what happened when she was a kid and what's happening now, but she doesn't know if she's just being paranoid and she's looking for comparisons between the two, or whether there is a link between what happened then and what's happening now. I have a feeling that I'm going to really like this because it's recommended for fans of Gillian Flynn and Karen Slaughter, and even though I haven't read anything by Karen Slaughter yet, I have read all of Gillian Flynn's books and I did really enjoy them. I mean, it's been a while since I read them, but Gillian Flynn's books were what got me into reading thrillers, and yeah, I'm expecting this to feel very nostalgic, maybe? I don't know. I think this could go either way because it's written by a debut author, so it all depends on whether I like the writing style, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a quick and entertaining read. Role number 4 is a 2, a 1-2, which is a fantasy. Role number 4 landed on fantasy, and other than Mistborn Era 2, there were 2 other fantasy books on my October TBR that I would like to roll over into November. As you can tell, October was not a great reading month, but the 2 books that I'm rolling over are Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco and Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I was thinking, because these are both fantasy romances about witches, I was thinking I could do a reading vlog where I compare the 2. Let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in, but yeah, I'm glad that I'm finally getting around to both of these, hopefully, because these are also on my list of series that I wanted to start in 2022, which I'm also not doing a very good job with at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be good to have some fantasy romance on this TBR. Role number 5 is a 3, 1, 2, 3, which is a thriller. Role number 5 landed on thriller, and I might be cheating a little bit with this because I'm going to use my current audiobook read for this prompt because I don't want my TBR to be completely out of control, but the book that I'm currently listening to is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. So this is following a detective. I think it's actually the first book in what's going to be a series that follows this detective called Ellen, and she's been invited to this hotel that used to be a sanatorium, and I was convinced that a sanatorium was somewhere where animals were slaughtered for meat, and it turns out I was completely wrong and I was getting confused with another word. So sanatorium is actually a kind of hospital, I think. So this hotel used to be a sanatorium, but it's now a hotel. and we're following this detective as she is on holiday. However, people start to go missing and creepy stuff starts to happen, and it's very atmosphere driven. I'm not that far into it. I think I'm about 20% of the way through. It does feel more like a mystery, but there's still tension there. So yeah, it's a mystery thriller and I'm liking it so far. It's not super original, but I do tend to like thrillers that follow a detective, so I'm excited to hopefully finish this in November. I don't think I'm going to finish it in October, so I feel okay with putting this onto my November TBR. Roll number 6 is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a challenge again, and the challenge is to read a small book under 300 pages. So roll number 6 landed on challenge, and the challenge was to read a small book that's under 300 pages, and I'm gonna be honest, I struggled a little bit with this. Usually I'd be really excited to get some smaller books on my TBR, but I don't have any small books that I really need to read. However, I was thinking I could go with Mistborn Secret History for this, because I think this is meant to be read at a particular time. I think you're meant to read this after Bands of Mourning. Let me know in the comments if you've read this book or this series and if I've got that wrong, but I think this has spoilers for Mistborn Era 2. I don't know, but this is the one that I'm gonna preliminarily put on my TBR, and then I can always swap it out if I find out that I can't read this yet or I shouldn't read it yet. Okay, so roll number 7 is a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a thriller. Roll number 7 landed on thriller, and for this I'm going to be reading The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont, I think is how you pronounce the author's name. I don't know yet if this is going to be more of a mystery than a thriller, but I got this quite recently on Kindle because it was in a 99p Kindle deal, and we know that I just can't resist those. But it sounded really cool. I think this is basically about Agatha Christie, but it's a fictionalized account of what happened when she went missing. So this is something that actually happened. Agatha Christie went missing for, I think it was like 11 days, and no one to this day knows what happened during those 11 days. She claimed to have lost her memory, I think, but yeah, this author has basically written this book trying to fill in those gaps of what could have happened. I don't know how fictionalized this story is, but I feel like it's going to be a good one to read around this time of year because it sounds like a cozy mystery, and I love cozy mysteries, and especially around this time of year as we're getting into the colder weather. Now I'm hoping that this is going to be the last roll, and it is. It's a 3. 1, 2, 3. So there we have it. Those are the 7 books that I am hoping to read in November. It's not actually 7 though, is it? Because there's 3 books in Mistborn Era 2, and then there's the 2 books that I can't decide between with Kingdom of the Wicked and Serpent and Dove, but those are the books that I'm hoping to read in November. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of them and what you thought of them. Let me know what you're planning on reading in November, and yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me, and I will see you next time. Bye!